All right, so I just got done seeing Over Your Dead Body, and definitely up in the running as one of the best movies I've seen this year. Um, it's as far as I remember the scene, like an image from the scene I saw was an outdoor scene, and it looked kind of gloomy, and so I was like, this is a comedy or is it a drama? Turns out it's a dark comedy, and there is several scenes. I mean, every scene there's something funny that happens, whether it's the way a line reading is done or a physical action in the moment. Or just there's a multitude of different ways that this movie has comedy coming at you, whether it's through a believably dumb character or just Juliette Lewis popping up and being hilarious. I mean, there's just really funny moments in different ways all over the place in a movie that is very smart in its writing. Yeah, it gets crazy. There's some you have to accept a crazy situation. This this almost like companion of 2026 as far as the way that the action is centered around a remote house out in the country and the way that it's staged. But of course, this movie is, and obviously there's differences, but obviously this one takes the more comedic approach. And this one even gets way more brutal. There's some brutality in this movie that is crazy. Um, and like it gets surprising, and I think the crazy brutality of it, with with at least I would say at least 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 moments of just like like jolting the audience, and it's really great because it keeps this a reality in there because there's so much comedy and there really is a lot of funny moments and the audience laughed out loud quite often throughout the entire movie. But at the same time, it holds itself dramatically to where yeah, these are people in their real situation that they're in here, and the yeah, I would say that really the most surprising thing, beyond how funny it is and how well put together it is, and the direction, the the direction that it takes of how it tells the story, all that's top notch. But it really allows the viewers to be smart. I think it understands that its audience is an adult audience. It goes for that hard R rating pretty well. Um, it's there's some language. There's nothing really sexual, but there is some extreme violence. So I think that it knows that its audience is smart enough that if they're in there watching this movie and they're liking this movie, they're going to understand a lot that happens that is not full of exposition for the audience to be constantly ahead of everybody else in the movie. Um, you pretty much, I mean, I wonder how many people say they're going to predict the ending. Um, Kind of, sort of. It's a movie that the ending that needs to happen and should happen and is going to be best to happen is probably going to be what happens for you in the movie, and it's going to be well earned. And when movies have a hopeful ending that you say, well, I would like to see how it ends up in this place by the end, and you enjoy the ride there, and not only is it, you have your moments of fun and gore and all sorts of things along the way. I mean, it surprisingly holds the backbone of just a really solid, well-made movie, that I think will surprise people, especially once they get past the first couple scenes and they start understanding, okay, this is going to be the tone of the movie. All right. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Um, I cannot wait to see if this stands on my top 10 of the year. There's a very good chance it could. I saw some great trailers ahead of this movie. But yeah, this was a way above average from what we usually get with, especially with this type of movie. Um, it sort of reminded me a little bit of Together, as far as the not plot, but the idea of a couple with who's possibly experiencing some issues, going off and living somewhere. There's lots of stories like that about a separation from normality of life. But I mean, that was in my bottom 10. This one is how it's done. How a dark comedy with this tone should be done. This is a great one, and I highly recommend it with an audience because, like I said, this audience was it's a small audience. Unfortunately, the movie's not going to make that much money. Hopefully it does pretty good. I don't think the budget's that high on it, but yeah, the audience I was with had a great time. You could easily tell everyone had a great time with it. And if you've seen it, let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one.